So have you ever written like a message on a bathroom mirror when it's steamed up? I want to try and get that effect. That is one crazy piece of resin art there, isn't it? It looks so real. Even the smearing looks really realistic. I'll just wash all of that away. So there we have it, ready to go again. Right, we are back with another crazy resin art idea. This is kind of a little bit of a tweak on the raindrop effect. You may have seen that. It was really popular. It kind of blew up a couple of years ago. So I had an idea. I've had this idea actually a few times, but I never knew quite how to execute the final stage. The first stage is going to be pretty easy. So have you ever written like a message on a bathroom mirror when it's steamed up? I want to try and get that effect. So here it goes. This is a 10 centimeter coaster mold. You really are going to have to hunt around for these because I really struggled to find these and pop these links in the description. And these are 10 centimeters. That's just an acrylic. Yeah, you know what I mean. And that's an acrylic mirror. So if this works as a trial run, I'd definitely try this on a bigger scale. So these have just got protective films on, so I'm just going to peel that off. And these mirrors are sticky back, so I can peel off the back and stick that to this, like so. Hopefully I get it perfect first time. So that will just keep the mirror from bowing or bending in the resin. So what I'm going to do is mix up some epoxy. Just make sure there's no bubbles stuck in there because it's going to float in the resin otherwise. Yeah, I mean, I've planned this stage. I thought about this stage. It's the end kind of stage that I might not even get right in this video. Things could go wrong. So we're just going to see how it goes. So we're just going to be using the collab resin for this. I'm going to get that mixed up. I don't want any bubbles, so I'm going to stick it in my bubble machine and yeah, we'll get pouring. But I'm not peeling that bit off yet because I don't want any dust to go on there whilst I'm mixing. Okay, now my resin is ready to pour. I'm going to pour a small amount in and just double check for some bubbles. And then I'm going to put some resin on the mirror before submerging that mirror side down. Spread that all over. As always, massive shout out to my channel members, anyone who's bought me a coffee or a super thanks, and to all my subs. Okay. I'll peel off that back sticker first. Get off static. And then I can peel off that front sticker also. Now I'm not taking it right to the edge. Just enough so that I can pick it up and place it into the resin. Any bubbles that are around the edge, when I push the mirror down, will come out the sides. Okay, here it goes. There are some tiny little bubbles left in there, but for a concept and a trial run, I think we'll be okay. And just push that down. Hopefully pushing out any bubbles that are stuck around the edges. I'm just going to let that excess resin just flow over the top now and then top it up. So now I'm just going to keep poking around the edges just to make sure. I'm probably going to get a couple of bubbles, but I'm not overly worried. And we just let that cure. Okay, we're all cured. Whilst that was curing yesterday, I had a little play around with some jewellery ideas using the same technique. I'll show you at the end. Hopefully this one will work though. So we should have, what's happened? It's very frosty. And I've got, can you see that? I think I've used this mould so many times. The actual manufacturing print has come through. The inside, that wasn't on a heat mat or anything. But that's strange because it's frosted the mirror. It's already got, I think that's because the mold is so dull. So hopefully, hopefully the magic will work. But I'm going to sand this down now, just with some low grit sandpaper and some water. 1200 will do. Yeah, you can see as soon as I've added some water on there, I've kind of got a mirror. So I'm just going to sand that now. It's very scratchy, but again, it's just a trial run really to see if this works. So the bit that I was saying at the beginning, that I'm not quite sure on how we're going to get this next stage. I had a little play around yesterday. I watered down some clear PVA glue because I want something that's not permanent. So you could clean this, wash it away, and then just change the design whenever you want. So if you did this on a larger scale, you could just take it down, clean it off, change the design, let it dry, put it back up again. It worked with the PVA and water. It did take a little while to dry, probably about half an hour. You could, I suppose, do this in a permanent way using UV resin as the drips. I did try it and water down the PVA glue and put it into like a spray bottle, but the spray bottle I had didn't work. It didn't come out as a mist like I'd want it to. So then I kind of taped some sticks together and then just dabbed all over the piece with the watered down PVA glue. It did work and we got some interesting droplets, but it was just, again, it was quite time consuming. I suppose what you could do is you could do a permanent speckled design around most of the piece and leave like a window that you could do, that you could clean away and change the design in the middle, if that makes sense. So it's not so much work the following time you have to do it. Again, it's just a concept. I don't know if anyone's ever done this before. Hairspray, possibly. I haven't tried that yet, but then it's gonna stink out your house every time you want to change the design with hairspray, isn't it? I'm thinking just the clear PVA glue on its own, but is that going to take even longer to dry? I'm going to show you both ways anyway. So this is the Elmer's, the whopping great big Elmer's clear PVA glue that I've had for quite some time now. I'm going to just water some of this down and I'll do one trial run with a watered down PVA, and then I'll try it on its own, just neat, and just see if we get any different effect. But I want it to wash away easily. I don't want it to be any kind of struggle in doing that. So I'm just going to add some water to that and then just mix that up like so. It's almost a 1:1 ratio, I suppose. Just mix it up until there's no streaks. So this is the way that I did it yesterday on the little jewelry pendant that I'll show you at the end. And the only thing with this is that it doesn't keep its droplet form. As it dries, it kind of, yeah, it doesn't keep that droplet form like it would if you was to do it with, say, a UV resin and then cure it. But I'll show you anyway. And you can see that mirror effect coming through as it's wet. But I definitely think that it needs to be something that can be reused, just to make it unique and a bit more functional, I suppose. So I'm going to continue. I don't know whether like a stiff paintbrush could possibly spray it on. It would definitely be a lot less time consuming if it works. It's definitely a lot finer. It is spraying on. I don't know whether you can see it. But it would just be so much easier if it worked in like a spray mist. But my spray bottles just didn't seem to work when I tried. I mean, it's working for finer droplets, really fine droplets. Adjust my focus. See those really fine droplets now compared to the bigger ones. So I suppose we could do a mix between the two. But I mean, who wants to do this every time they want to change the message? That's the thing. I think I'm overthinking it, because to be honest with you, that only took about 3 minutes. So then all you need to do, I suppose you could just use your finger, is write in your message. And then to give it some more realistic look, if you just tap it, this is what I did with the jewelry piece. See the droplets, the bigger droplets have dripped down. So that has given us a really, that's pretty cool actually, a really realistic steamed up mirror effect. So now we just leave that to dry. What you can also do is, I've seen this done, I'm not sure where, but they added like droplets around the edge on a different project. I can't remember what it was. I think it was the raindrop technique, to make it look like the water's running down the side of the mirror, like so. It does actually look really cool. Let's just see how it dries. If you add a big drop and then pull it upwards, it will look like a real drop of water. It's really cool. So you could do this with UV resin and it would be more permanent. That's entirely up to you. But like I said, I wanted something that was a bit more functional. So let's wait for that to dry and you'll see why I'm not 100% happy with it. So that has been a total of 1 hour and everything is dry now. But can you see what I mean about the droplets not being like beaded? They haven't kept their natural look, but it's still really cool. I mean, the frosted look makes it look like it's real anyway. So I mean, I'm not too disappointed. You know, when you just have those moments where you're just not happy with what you're doing. I think I'm going through one of those stages, but I'm loving this effect where it actually looks like, you know, you've written it onto that steamed mirror look. It just, the smear, even the smearing looks really realistic. Just not overly happy with that, the flatness to it. I want it more 3D, but I'm going to now, after all that, wash this away with just some warm water and we'll bring back that matte style, and I'm going to try it again with just clear PVA glue on its own. So you could sell something like this and then send out a little bottle of the PVA glue if you wanted to. I don't know. It might not go anywhere. It's just a concept. So just some soapy water. Just wash all of that away. I mean, the writing comes off easier because it's a thinner amount. So I suppose you could wash away some of it and then proceed to your next message. I don't know. I'm just going to do the whole lot. So there we have it, ready to go. Again, I'm not going to make you sit and watch me do the whole lot again. I'm just going to just use the neat PVA, clear PVA glue for this and just repeat the process and just see if it dries any quicker. And in theory, we should keep the droplet, the 3D-ness. Is that a word? Is now. So, neat PVA glue. It didn't keep the dimension that I thought it would. Hasn't, again, there's a little bit more definition, but not much. And this took half the time. I'm pleasantly surprised. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd probably get a lot of enjoyment out of picking this off. Just using my fingernail. But I think this is going to be a lot more durable as well because it hasn't got that water content in. But you could colour your resin, even you could do it like, not resin, your PVA glue, you could colour it like red and do like a bloody mirror effect. The designs are pretty limitless. They really are. And you get what you put in. The more time you spend on a piece, the better it's going to look. But I'm actually really, really happy with it now, especially with this smiley face. It looks really, really cool. Yeah, so you could do this with UV resin for a permanent design and just use it as a normal coaster, but you could turn it into a fridge magnet. You could do lots of things again on a bigger scale. And again, the great thing is you can just wash it off and change it whenever you're bored of it. How easy does it come off? It's actually really strong. maybe the bigger droplets would pick off a bit easier, but I want to take some pictures of it before I ruin it. But how well does the PVA glue on its own stand up to washing it off? Again, the message has gone. Use the scourer pad will probably be easier, but it will just wash away. There you go. Super, super easy. I think you could use that as a normal coaster though. It wouldn't cause it any harm. Well, for a limited amount of time. I'm really sad that it's gone now. Oh, I'm going to have to do it again. Okay, we're going to give the hairspray a quick blast. I'm going to hold this quite far away and only just touch the nozzle down. Only just push it to get kind of the spurting. There we go. Now this is going to dry super fast. But I'm wondering if we get a decent effect. Again, just tapping down. Could always squirt it into a cup and apply it the same way with a toothpick. Right, let's see how that dries. Literally, it should only take about a minute. Yep, that took about a minute. Very, very almost the same. Again, just play around with it. Does the same thing. Just not, it's not as good as the PVA glue, I don't think, but it's much, much quicker. And here is a pendant that I made just using a flat mold. I just put a very thin layer of UV resin in, cured that, and then used one of my nail powders. It's like a greeny, bluey kind of color. Almost looks like sea glass. Yeah, very thin layer of UV resin, because that gives you a much better effect. You see that real glass-like, almost like mirroring, where it's close to the nail powder. Yeah, cured that, dusted it with my nail powder, and then backed in a couple of layers of black UV resin with my black mica powder. And then again, yeah, that was just using a mix of the PVA glue and water for that. And again, you can kind of wash that off, change the message, whatever you want. You could do it for feelings if you wanted to, happy face for if you're having a good day, sad face for if you're not. Change it however you like. But as always, give the video a thumbs up, drop me a comment if you haven't subscribed, hit that button for me, even if it's a smiley face in the comment. Yeah, I'm really happy with it now. I really am. So yeah, have fun with it. I will see you for the next one. Bye for now.